Now, the fourth stage of ideological subversion that completes the process is an indefinite period of normalization. Now, when this is completed again, it allows people unable to assess true information to come to a sensible conclusion. And the way, again, ex-KGB agent Yuri Bezmenov described the completion of this process and the totalitarian environment that was created in the Cold War Soviet Union. He said, "This is what will happen, quote unquote, this is what will happen in the United States if you allow all the schmucks to bring the country to crisis." And of course, end quote. And of course, in this case, the schmucks are the bankers. So this is actually, we are in crisis right now, so we have allowed the schmucks to bring the country to crisis. And the only way that we can prevent ourselves from being harmed is to have awareness of this process of ideological subversion and how that converts our whole mentality to believing propaganda instead of believing whole card evidence and facts. Yuri Bezmenov said when this process was complete that people are left so helpless, and I would actually even call this emotional state a state of learned helplessness, that he said he could show someone documents that provide evidence of concentration camps in the Soviet Union during the Cold War. He could actually physically force someone and drag someone to these concentration camps. And he said at that point, they have been so mentally weakened that they will continue to deny even hard, cold facts, even when presented with them, when it's staring them right in the face. So this period of normalization that happens, I can see why people don't understand, the fact that we are in a global monetary crisis, that they do need to own physical gold and physical silver to help them, because no fiat currency, unless we go back on a gold standard, will protect them as this crisis worsens. This is why we can have such junk like the chief investment strategist of Charles Schwab, Liz Ann Saunders, who recently just said in July 2010 that the fundamentals are pretty strong. So I guarantee you that if the stock market continues to rise, it will melt up on fraud and daily intervention by the plunge protection team in America to cause the market to melt up. But when it all falls apart, you're going to have a great crash again. So while fraud has made the timing of such events a little more difficult, basically I know that the market is not rising because of fundamentals. That's a ludicrous concept. And it's a concept that they're only able to sell to you, a false concept, because of this process of ideological subversion. As another example, in April of 2008, if you look at this article, let me point to it over here, you will see again that I predicted a market crash, and certainly because the U.S. index is shed almost like 50%, I would say that qualifies as a crash. But the vitriol and the anger that was spewed against me for writing this article, because again, people are saying fundamentals were strong, and actually people call me idiots for calling that crash even though it happened, and the index has lost more than 50%. It's because of this process of ideological subversion. Let me go back to an article on December 16th, 2006. This article I read that was called "Why Tiffany Beats Gold as an Inflation Hedge." So this person wrote, again, quote unquote, it says, if you've been a long-term holder of gold bullion, you have my sympathy. It says, gold has been a terrible long-term investment. And then it goes on to say, quote unquote, shares of Tiffany & Company, the world-famous luxury retailer, have consistently blown gold out of the water. Well, you know how Tiffany has performed since that time? Since December 16, 2006, Tiffany shares were trading at $36.18, and they now trade at $43.55. So they've gone up a little bit over 20%. Since that time, gold has moved from $623 an ounce to over $1,183 an ounce. So it's gone up almost 90%. So it's outperformed Tiffany by more than 4 times. So, but this is a kind of propaganda that commercial investment advisors will continuously be able to sell you. You know, they'll be able to sell you, oh, don't buy gold because it just doubled again, so it's a bad investment. It can never double again. But yet they can sell Apple stock when it was 13 and then doubled to 26 and then doubled again to 52, and it's still a solid investment. So, and in that case, it did turn out to be a solid investment because obviously it rose much higher than $52. But the point I'm trying to make here is that this type of propaganda will work against gold and silver, and keeping investors out of something that will protect them from harm and from financial instability in the future because of certain concepts of ideological subversion that are applied to certain asset classes to make them seem negative, to make investors believe that they're bad, when in actuality they are the type of investments they need to be buying, and that will actually protect them during this period of financial crisis. And that's how you also have investment firms sell you on ridiculous notions of diversification, which is the #1 worst investment strategy in the world, and just an investment strategy that is basically designed for the sell side. So investment firms can, you know, basically charge you fees for basically doing hardly any labor whatsoever, because they diversify all your gains during a good bull market into oblivion. So, and during the downside, diversification never protects you. So again, you have to realize how all these false concepts are sold to you and why you believe them. So I hope that this video has helped you understand the 4 stages of ideological subversion. 1, re-education. 2, destabilization. 3, creation of crisis. And 4, normalization. But in normalization, abnormal concepts are sold as normal, and that's why you know, we call it process normalization. But don't let this process of normalization fool you. So, you know, I hope that you're still able to spot the abnormal events out there and don't take them as normal, and use your ability to spot these abnormal events to protect your family's welfare in the future. Okay, that wraps up our topic for today. Thanks for watching.